You're listening to The Vidaurri Effect with your host, Rudy Vidaurri, owner of the Apex Predator MMA Gym in Rancho Cordova, California, co-hosted by Jennifer Steele. Now here's Rudy. It's on.
My name is Sensei Rudy Vidaurri. I am the owner and head coach of Apex Predator MMA, and you're listening to The Vidaurri Effect. First of all, Merry Christmas, and what's going to be a good and happy New Year. One thing I wanted to talk about today was resolutions, since we're coming up on the new year, and we're turning the corner on 2023. And resolutions, what's that mean to you? What's it mean to me? You know, changing things up a bit, I guess, but it shouldn't take January 1st to do that. There's 365 days in a year the last time I checked, and any day is as good a day to start right now, And so if there's something that you aspire to do in the new year, or you're tired of doing in this past year that you want to change or improve for yourself, do it now. At the time of this recording, it's a couple days before New Year's Eve. A real introspective time for me. I've been pretty forthright about some of the things that I've been dealing with and my divorce and moving forward with that and making the decision to do so. And Jen and I were just kind of pre-gaming here in the studio, talking a little bit about that. And, sometimes you just have to make big boy decisions. And that was a big one. And as much as I knew there was going to be trouble and problems and stress, and, I'm just so much happier now. And sometimes there are hard decisions in life. There are things that are going to be difficult to do. Maybe there's kids involved. Maybe there's money involved. Maybe there's things that aren't going to be easy. But you're defined on how you handle the hard stuff. The very definition of your character is how you handle the hard stuff in life, not cruising through the easy times. So if there's something about you right now that you think you want to change in the new year, maybe you want to drink less. Maybe you want to smoke less. Maybe you want to eat better. Maybe you want to start training or working out and exercising more. Maybe you want to get out of a bad relationship. Maybe you want to get into a new good relationship. Maybe you're fat. Maybe you're too skinny. I don't give a shit. Whatever you are, if you want to change it, the power is in your hands. You have all the control in the world to do the things that you need to do to make those changes. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, nobody else is going to make those decisions for you. People got their own stuff going on. They don't care. Their priorities, especially as we get older, everybody has their own agenda, their own things they've got going on, their own calendar year, whether it's January 1st or today or tomorrow or whenever. They've got their own set of challenges, problems, their own goals, their own time, and it gets more and more limited as we get older. It gets more valuable. And if you're young and you think you got all the time in the world, oh, next year I'll figure it out. Next year I'll go back to school. Next year I'll start working on that thing that I want to put off right now. I'm going to tell you right now, you do that and you'll go 10 years and then have to look back and say, where'd the time go? Right now. The time is right now. So happy New Year's to everybody, but it's time to start kicking some ass.
That's the thing too, because we don't really know how much time we have. We don't know how much time we have here. And we think about it. I'm sure everyone's been in a position to have lost someone who you wish you would have had the chance to say something to, or who you wanted to make up with, or, and it really, it's such a horrible feeling when you realize that you don't have that time anymore.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen a lot of people that have experienced loss this year, like I've discussed before on this program. I've lost, my father at a young age. I lost my son, at a week old. I've lost numerous people around me for various different reasons. And that's given me the perspective to always appreciate, the relationships I have, the friendships I have, and foster those. And it's very important to always tell those around you that you love them. I tell my kids that every time I'm with them. I tell my girl that all the time, and showing affection and being affectionate and being honest about that and being clear about that is very important. You never want anybody to ever doubt where you stand, whether it's family, friends, anything, and spending that time in a way that's healthy and productive and conducive to fostering those relationships and those bonds and being good to people and being good to yourself. That's what resolutions are all about. If you want to repair a relationship with somebody, or if you need to, cut your losses with somebody and understand the damage that it's taken and the toll it's taken on yourself, that's also part of a resolution. Being good to yourself is one thing, but if others aren't being good to you, you still have the control to take that away from them.
You got to start by standing up for yourself. If you're in a situation where somebody's telling you that you're not good enough, or that you can't do something or whatever, I think there's a lot of power in, like you said, getting to know who you are. Again, take a little assessment of where you're at in your life, and if you're not happy about it, start with little things like sticking up for yourself. Say, no, I'm not that. Don't call me stupid, because you know what? If you call somebody stupid long enough, they're going to think they're stupid.
Everybody thinks they can exactly, and everybody thinks they can walk a mile in your shoes, and get to make decisions for you. But unless they have walked a mile in your shoes and understand what it is you're dealing with or who you really are, they have no right to judge or try to make decisions for you. And
you don't have to feel bad to want to be treated good. You don't have to feel bad about that. No, and I think some people do, like we think we have to please other people all the time. And it's okay to want to be treated well yourself.
And a master manipulator will do a very good job of being able to execute and make you think otherwise. That's what people will do when they're selfish and they're greedy and they really want to take advantage of you, and I've been there in previous relationships, with certainly my last couple of wives, it's one of those things that you have to make the decision to move on from, and I hope that they also find the perspective to improve, and there's a reason that they also were left by their other exes for the same reasons that I left them.
Yeah. And the thing, we were kind of talking about this before. I don't know why you have to part ways and wish harm on the other person. You really don't have to. I think if everybody can just be adult enough to say, hey, this isn't working, and, why do we have to hate each other? Yeah. Can't we just go in peace? I don't know why we can't do that.
Especially when there's kids involved, and that's the real shameful thing, is that, when people put their own personal needs in front of what a kid deserves in a happy childhood, then that's really challenging, to deal with. It's a difficult set of circumstances.
You and I have been in that situation firsthand. When I left my daughter's dad, she was pretty young. And he did a nice job of trying to convince her how horrible I was. Yeah. And I didn't sink to the same level. I never said anything bad about her dad to her. And as she grew up, she figured it out for herself.
Oh, yeah. And the truth always has a way of coming full circle. And if you trust in that, and you trust in the process of truth and God and the things that will, in the end, be crystal clear, then you can take some solace in that, because sometimes, looking into the future, looking into this next year, what your resolutions are going to be, there's a lot of uncertainty with a lot of different things. But, if you trust that in the end, the truth will be there, then it helps you kind of cope and be at peace with all of it.
That's right. And I know a few people who are very into the truth, which I've always admired about those people, and how the truth, you're right, it's always going to be true. Yeah. So somehow you can circle back to that, yeah, and realize it.
It's a trip. Right when I first got the Maserati, I was coming around the corner of Zinfandel and Sunrise up here in Sacramento, for those of you who aren't familiar, and Rancho Cordova to be more specific. And I was going towards the freeway, but there's a homeless guy that always has a bullhorn and a sign. He's always out there, and he's always kind of saying things to people. And, I was actually heading to my first court date for this whole, divorce situation that I'm dealing with. And I was just so upset about all the things that she had been saying about me, which weren't true, and he was talking to other people, and I pulled up, and the guy looks right at me, and I just threw him a peace sign, and he says, "The spirit of truth is in you, and it will protect you." And it's so profound, and the timing on that was really special, and I think there's always going to be, you have to look at the signs, you have to look at the things that are in your life right now for a reason, and you have to look at those as blessings, the good, the bad. Hey, look, what better time than to assess, than to take an inventory of everything that you have on your plate right now, and over the past year that you've done, that you've delegated, that you've experienced, and look at which of those things you want to keep and which of those things you want to throw out.
Yeah, it's a good time to sort of assess where you're at. And I think if you can tell yourself to be open, like you just said, open to the truth, open to realizing the signs and seeing the things that are put in front of you to help you, you have to be receptive to it.
Yeah, because a big part of the equation is also denial, and some of the times that people look at where they're at, their station in life, or why they're unhappy, and why they have to have all these resolutions in the first place is because they've been in denial and they haven't been realistic with themselves about the standards and the goals that they've set, or, the bar that they've set, and the things that they've done to put themselves in that situation. And I always say, people only have to look so far to see exactly where they're at in life, and, every time I've been completely honest with myself about the things that I've done and I've experienced, I have more of a role in that I think, but there also are people that are going to try to take advantage, try to hold you back. And you got to cut ties with those people. Yeah. Yeah.
It's difficult. It's hard because you get into situations where you're comfortable. Even if it's not the best thing for you, you can still be comfortable in the situation. And then it becomes just time ticking away.
Yeah. Yeah. And the decision to walk away, in my marriage, honestly, is one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And now with the gym, the new chapter, moving on as a coach and doing some other things, still with Apex Predator, but also, under a new banner now too. And I'll have more on that in the new year, but I'm blessed with a new opportunity, to still do what I love to do, just with a different uniform on, and still coaching MMA. You create these situations for yourself. You have to press the button on things and go for it.
You do. And we were just talking earlier, too, about how some situations are a time suck. Some people end up being a time suck. And you have to be able to set time aside for yourself to work on the things that are going to help you be a better person.
Oh, yeah. And that ultimately is the goal, your own emotional well-being and your happiness. Look, if it was just about, going out and earning a paycheck and then kind of coming home and eating dinner and going to sleep, like anybody can kind of go through the motions and do that. Hell, half the people can't even do that much. They can't even get up and function every day and go That's do right. some work or whatever. They just kind of sit around and waste their life. But, yeah, go get it.
And count your blessings. I mean, it's easy for us to get roped into what's wrong and what we don't have and all of that sort of thing. But I think if you can turn it around, and even if you have one thing, when my daughter was little, I would say to her at the end of the day, tell me one good thing that happened today, so that she would go to bed with a smile on her face.
Absolutely. Looking back on the blessings we do have, and then also the things to look forward to, I talk about that a lot on the program, because I feel like when you have something to get excited about, then it makes the day worth it. It makes what'd you do today? Oh, well, I went to go record with Jen,
Yeah.
We had fun.
We did.
And tomorrow, what are you doing? Oh, well, my girl's kids are going back to school or whatever. I'm going to go spend some time with her, what are you doing that day after that? Hey, I get to see my kids, the Jags are playing. It's New Year's Eve. I'm going to celebrate, you for at least the next week in front of you should have something that you're that
you're looking forward to.
I can't wait to do that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Because there's the other side of that. I have a family member who once bragged about having his day planned out in a day planner for the next 5 years.
Oh my.
And that's a little excessive. That's that's not my thing. I'm more spontaneous than that.
Yeah.
And credit to him, he's organized and he's made a lot of money in his life, and hey, good for him.
Yeah, way to go.
But I've always lived my life more, from the heart with instinct, and just kind of in the moment and with spontaneity, and I'd like to think it's worked out for me.
Oh, absolutely. But you can also set yourself up with things that you like to do. You can have those opportunities available to you so that when you're ready to go do them, you can do them. And surround yourself with people that you like to hang out with so that you do have some things to look forward to every day.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be always about people. It can be about things. It can be about setting yourself up for success with the low hanging fruit, so to speak. Just a meal, a song, a workout. Hell, if you have a pet, or if you don't have a pet, get yourself one.
Absolutely.
It's been shown that getting an animal reduces your blood pressure, extends your life.
And let me just say, here's a little plug for our area shelters, that shelter animals are the most grateful animals, and our area shelters in this area are overrun with furry best friends who need a new home.
Go out and get one today, and learning to take care of someone or something else can teach you a lot about taking care of yourself, because when you're selfless and you give, only then can you really understand what it is to receive.
It's true. My dog Jack is 13. I've had him for since he was 3. And he's starting to get some hip problems now. It's getting hard for him to walk around and stuff. And I sat down and had a talk with him the other day. And I said, Jack, you know what? You've been my best friend for a long time. And I will do whatever it takes to take care of you. And it's given me so much joy to have him in my life, and it'll give me joy now to be able to take care of him.
And that's special, that's really, what it is. It's like, my mom's getting a little bit older, it's like kind of gonna have to take care of her too, it's like, and those are things that, whether it's someone like, my mom who's getting longer of the tooth or or your dog who's got a little bit of a wobbly hip, it's like, it's good for the soul.
It is.
It's good for the soul. So it doesn't always have to be self-centered or selfish or focused on you. Your resolution, would and should be this year, part of your resolutions is to be generous. To think about what you can do for others. Think about what you can do for the people around you, that is honest and healthy. And I'm not talking about like, hey, let's go. Let me go pick you up a case of Heineken. Nothing against Heineken. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas to you. That's fine too. But I mean, it's a lovely gesture. I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But doing something that, is straight from the heart and sincere and that could help others improve their life too.
And be thankful.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, be thankful, because we are all just 1 or 2 steps away from not having security in our life. And you have to be thankful for the things that you have. Just do. Gratitude,
right up there with humility, and then honesty. If you look at those 3 values, if you can stay humble and be grateful for what you have, and then be honest about the things that you do, in the long run, it doesn't matter if you have incredible wealth or all the things in the world. If you have those values, you have wealth beyond people that have other wealth in those other ways, because those are 3 very important things, and it doesn't take money to have class.
No, it does not. And class goes a long way. Not too long ago, there was a friend of ours that I said, you know what he is? He's just a classy guy. I mean, and he was so floored to hear something like that about himself. He didn't realize that's how he was, because nobody talks about that anymore.
Yeah.
But, you're just like a class act. And that is something to be proud of.
And you can wear, a tank top and shorts and drive an average car and do whatever and still have class. It doesn't mean
open a door for somebody.
Because I've met a lot of people with ton of money that have no class whatsoever.
Absolutely.
It's funny, sometimes, going back to the very first episode of this podcast, the struggle, sometimes struggling gives you that perspective. When everything is handed to you, there is no like reward to earning something. It's not special. It's just there. And I think not to take away from people with tremendous wealth or money, because somebody had to work hard to get that money, but the people that benefit from it, that don't appreciate it and don't have the perspective to understand how it was earned and what it took and the sacrifice it took to get that, and just think it grows on trees, they got a lot to learn in life.
They do.
So having value in the things that are important to you, whether it's, a relationship. Yeah, appreciate your girl too. Guys out there, if you feel like you think you can do better, then go do better, but don't hold on to somebody and string them along, who really loves you. And if she really loves you and you're just being an asshole, if you think you got it like that forever, you might lose a good one. You might lose a good one. So start treating her good, because, it's very important to be good too and treat your women right, man.
That might be my favorite resolution suggestion yet. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. There's a lot of dudes out there that are,
Yes,
and
there are.
As a life coach and as an MMA coach, and I've coached a lot of women. There's a lot of guys out there that mistreat women, and it's just not right. There's a lot of girls out there that deserve better. There's a lot of girls out there that don't deserve to be, talked down to or held back in life, or, kept from realizing their true potential. And for my female listeners, if this is one of you out there, hey, you know what? It's one thing to be treated like that and to kind of deal with it a little bit. But if you're tolerating it and you're putting up with it, and you're kind of martyring yourself and you've put yourself in this victim mode, that's on you. You got to snap out of it. You got to step up.
It really comes down to, and we've talked a lot about respect over the shows, respect for yourself, respect for other people, respect for the universe. I mean, just respect in general.
Oh, yeah.
If you can live that way, it'll come back to you.
What goes around comes around, like I said, and like the truth will always surface in the end, And for you girls out there who think that you can hide behind being a girl and treat guys poorly, and that, that's not also considered abuse, I got news for you.
No.
There's a two-way street, honey. You got to open your eyes and be real about who you are. And if you really want to keep that guy around and keep him happy, you got to change some things up. I know that's why I left,
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I know we've all been in those situations. I've been in situations where I wasn't respected, and you step away from it, and you're like, and if you're around somebody who does respect you, think about the difference, I mean, it's like, wow, they really didn't respect me.
And it helps you make better decisions, you know, so that way if a cute girl winks at you or wants to give you her number or whatever, if you got a good girl who's there for you and loves you and treats you with respect and kindness and is there for you, through thick and thin, no matter what, you can look at that girl and just tell her to get lost that much easier, because you're not lacking that. You're not lacking what you need, And so think about what you need and think about what the people around you need, especially if you're in a relationship. Another resolution is, being aware of the needs of the people in your life. It might be your kids. It doesn't have to just be your wife or your girlfriend. Think about the needs. What do people need from you that you can help fill as a void, that you can help meet that need with, and sometimes it's about stepping outside of your own box and thinking about, hey, the world doesn't revolve around me. Like, I can be there for this person. What do they need from me?
Yeah.
It might make your life easier too, because if you start filling the needs of the people around you, you'd be surprised at how quickly they'll step to the plate to fill yours.
The other thing I would say is there's always another day. Tomorrow is always a new day. It's always a new start. You can always get up and make a difference tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. And if you haven't up to this point, and you're feeling sorry for yourself, it doesn't mean it's too late. Chances are if that person or whoever it is still in your life, they haven't given up on you. And if somebody hasn't given up on you, or if that's the only thing that you guys got going for yourself in your relationship, look at ways to expand. Look at ways to elaborate and foster and build on the foundation of whatever it may be. For some people it's laughter, or they like to eat together, or they have, drinks together, or they go for hikes together, or whatever it is they do. Some people go for walks on the beach. I mean, as cliche as that sounds, try to add to that. Try to add to your arsenal. You know, when I train fighters, you know, I might have a guy who's a ground guy primarily. Well, I try to make him more well-rounded, teach him judo, teach him strikes. I might have a striker. I teach him ground game. That's my thing. I teach him judo. You have to be multi-dimensional. You have to be well-rounded. You have to have layers, you know, because if you're banking on one thing in your life or in your relationship to carry you the rest of the way, you're going to be mistaken in the end. You're going to need a lot more than that, you know, because things get old, things get boring, things change, you know, and you need to keep it interesting, you know. If you guys go out to the same restaurant every Friday night, you and your girlfriend, and you order the same thing, and you see the same waiter or waitress, and it's the same dialogue, and then you go home, and you're doing the same old thing, and you're watching the same old show, you know, and it just, hey, there's nothing wrong with routine. But chances are, sometimes you think that you're comfortable in that. Don't assume always that the other person is.
That's right. You know, and routine can be okay, but it can be an exciting routine. You can mix things up in the routine.
Yeah.
You know, I used to always say doing a daily radio show that I loved that I knew what I came in to do and that the structure was always the same. So I knew what I was supposed to do, but the content was always different.
Yeah.
So it was exciting, you know.
You know, there's a movie it kind of reminds me of with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's called True Lies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's funny, I had a drink with Jamie Lee Curtis one time.
Really?
And not like just me and her. It was actually my ex-girlfriend who I don't even want to remember back in L.A. One of the many. But, you know, her best friend or something was a Pilates instructor to Jamie Lee Curtis. And this chick was going back to under some rock in you know, in the Midwest somewhere. And then, you know, basically, Jamie Lee Curtis came to meet her at this place on Melrose.
Wow. And
we all had like kind of like a little going away party for this chick, right?
Neat.
So then, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis is there and I'm sitting there and I'm a big Spinal Tap guy, you know,
yeah.
like, and so I'm a musician. I play guitar. And so the first thing I say to her, you know, and I'd met a ton of celebrities, so I don't give a shit at this point. I'm like, whatever. I had a couple of drinks. I'm like, hey, you know what? Your husband's awesome. And I'm talking about and she just kind of looks at me and is like, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever. You know, it's like, yeah, I like so what? I like Spinal Tap, you know, but this one goes to 11, you know. And
I love Spinal Tap.
You guys can Google
Spinal
that.
Tap too.
Oh, shit.
Same cast, Rob Reiner. Coming out with a Spinal Tap.
Then then we got to see it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but you know, but True Lies. You know, you look at that movie and Schwarzenegger is this boring ass dude, and his wife is some secretary, and she's kind of getting bored with him, and kind of wants the adventure and romance, and you know, starts entertaining without giving a spoiler away. I don't know. Can we get sued for that?
Nah.
But yeah, that movie is like, you know, 30 years old now. So, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, you end up, you know, trying to do some things sometimes, and you think that everything's fine, and then all of a sudden you look in the mirror one day, and you know, things aren't. You know, like guys out there, it's like if you're not keeping her happy, you're wondering why. You know, like you catch her like doing this or doing that, like, you know, put it all to rest. You know, if you're not trying to, you know, be intimate, and I'll leave it at that. Now, you know, I'm a pretty crude guy, but if you're not actively like doing it regularly, she's going to get bored. If you're not actively trying to keep her happy, she's going to get bored. If you're not actively trying to think about what she likes to do, you know, she's going to get bored. Same thing for guys, ladies. You know,
true.
If you think
Goes
that,
both ways.
yeah, if you think that, you know, holding out on him to inspire him and make him do, it's like, nope, like there's going to be another girl that he's going to bump into here or there. You know, if you think that, you know, like, you know, not being creative or trying to do new things, whatever it is, if you guys, you know, aren't cooking for each other and doing things and trying to step to the plate and do something out of the ordinary, you're just going to become ordinary. And when people become ordinary, they become, you know, expendable. Speaking of expendable, we have expendable time here, you know, unfortunately with this podcast, but not until next time, fortunately, when you guys can come back and get more of the same thing here, but not ordinary.
That's right. And you know what? Make a resolution to listen to the Vidaurri Effect.
Yeah. Make a resolution to come back, same time, same place next time. Mm-hmm. You know, you can get copies of this at apexpredatormma.com. And I want you guys to have a safe, blessed, and happy New Year. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
The Vidaurri Effect is a Steel Voices production, recorded, produced, mixed, and engineered at Cat House Studios by Jennifer Steele. Hosted and created by Rudy Vidaurri, owner of the Apex Predator MMA gym in Rancho Cordova, California. More info and full episodes available at apexpredatormma.com, steelvoices.com, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening to The Vidaurri Effect.